From Grady's Field in Xenia, Ohio, it is game number 1 as your Xenia Scouts open up the 2016 Great Lakes League campaign against their division rivals, the Southern Ohio Copperheads. Hi, I'm Andrew Alex here alongside my broadcast partner, Kyler Ludlow. You're going to hear from Kyler in just a minute. The Scouts are out here playing against the Copperheads following a very successful 2015 campaign where they were just one game away from the Great Lakes League World Series. But without further ado, let's get to the starting lineups. First, for the visiting Southern Ohio Copperheads. Batting first and starting at second base from Ohio University, Connor Callery. Playing right field and batting second, also from Ohio University, we have Ryan Sargent. Batting third and playing third from Wayne State University in Michigan, Brad Baldwin. Batting in the cleanup spot and playing first base all the way from the University of North Dakota, Hunter Walsh. Batting fifth and playing catcher from Wayne State University, Nick Rose. The designated hitter batting sixth from Ohio University, Connor McMahon. Batting seventh and playing left field, Devin Rose. Batting eighth and playing shortstop, Tyler Payne from Lee University. And batting in the 9-hole from Ohio University, Devin Garcia. In the field for your Xenia Scouts, the catcher, Evan McDonald, Caleb Loy at first base, Aaron Valance at second, John Sharp at third, Sean Sharp at short, Chandler Atkins at third, Sean Kennedy in left, Ryan O'Hearn in center, and the right fielder is Jeremy Barth. The Xenia Scouts are managed by Mr. Bubba Cates. He is assisted by Taylor Hargrove, Dave Naw, and Corey Coobs. The starting pitcher tonight for your Xenia Scouts from the University of St. Thomas, the redshirt sophomore, Caleb Fernholz. Caleb just finished off his sophomore year with the St. Thomas Tommies. For his career at St. Thomas, he has a 5.25 ERA, striking out 37 over 47 and 2/3 innings pitched with a 6-2 career mark. We'll be right back to start the game. You are listening to the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. So we are about ready to get the 2016 Xenia Scouts campaign underway. On the mound, Caleb Fernholtz from St. Thomas University. Caleb, fastball, curveball, slider, changeup. Caleb looks to the catcher, Evan McDonald, and the first pitch of the 2016 season is taken high for a ball one. The batter, the second baseman, Connor Callery from Ohio University. Connor this year 4 for 21 on the season. That's good for a 190 batting average, and he had 1 RBI in there. Callery takes in fastball on the inside. Evens up the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Fernholtz from St. Thomas University. Sets, and he delivers. And that one's grounded to the shortstop, John Sharp, who picks it up and rockets it over to the first baseman, Caleb Bloy, but the ball sails high and brings Bloy off the base. So that is going to be marked probably as an infield single. So runner on first, nobody out, and that brings up Ryan Sargent from Ohio University. Sargent, another guy from Ohio University. That's 1 of 4 on the Southern Ohio Copperheads roster, and that's no surprise, given that the Southern Ohio Copperheads play on the campus of Ohio University. That's located in Athens, Ohio. Ohio U is a Mid-American Conference school. And breaking ball misses way high over the head of Sargent. Brings the count to 1-0.
Andrew, we've got quite a bit of weather in the field of play today. You can hear the rain actually falling down now, and it's already played a small factor in this early part of the game.
And that's a second one taken way high there. Brings the count to 2-0. Evan McDonald's attempt to pick off Connor Callery at first, not in time. So 2 balls, no strikes. But yeah, like you said, Kyler, very, very rainy today. Not exactly the ideal opening day weather, but I think the fans at this stadium are just happy that their Xenia Scouts are back. So 2 balls, no strikes. Big lead over there by Callery. And Fernholtz, high yet again, brings the count to 3-0. And looks like Evan McDonald's going to go out and have a word with him. In case you missed it earlier, catching is Evan McDonald at first, Caleb Bloy, Aaron Valance at second, John Sharp at short, Chandler Atkins at third, and you notice that Atkins and Sharp, both guys from Lipscomb University, both freshmen there. And then Kennedy, O'Hearn, and Barth from left to right in the outfield. 3 balls, no strikes, the count. And that one is high yet again. So Ryan Sargent going to take a walk on over to first base. And now, very early here, you have the Copperheads threatening. And like you said, Kyler, the rain might be playing a pretty big factor.
The first ball of the game was a slow roller out to short, and I don't know if it was a bad grip on the ball, but Sharp's throw to first was high. A good throw has a very good chance of getting the runner there. It's just a tough play to make. Wet turf and a wet ball throwing, it got away from him a bit, and now Fernholt's struggling to find the zone. You got to wonder if the ball's slipping out of his hand a bit.
And the first pitch there to Brad Baldwin is laced into center field. Coming around second and going home is Connor Callery, and he will score easily. Ryan Sargent to third, and an RBI single for Brad Baldwin. And just like that, the Southern Ohio Copperheads take an early 1-0 lead. So first and third, nobody out. 1-0 the score in favor of the Southern Ohio Copperheads, and Caleb Fernholtz yet to make an out here. But now the batter is going to be Hunter Walsh. Hunter Walsh playing over at first base, and let me tell you, talk about a trip. He hails from the University of North Dakota. This year at North Dakota, Walsh hit .258 with 10 RBIs and a pair of dingers. First pitch to Walsh, and that breaking ball sails into the zone for a called strike 1. And in North Dakota, that's more of a hockey school than you think a baseball school. 0-1 the count. Fernholtz sets, delivers, and that one is grounded foul. So after a couple of tough batters to begin with, Fernholtz ahead early in the count, 0-2 here with runners at first and third, nobody out. 1-0 Copperheads. Fernholtz looks to the catcher, McDonald. He sets, delivers, and that one's fouled down the third base line. So Walsh staying alive here. 1-0 the count. 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 1-0 with a very active first inning on a rainy day here at Grady's Field in Xenia, Ohio. And you got to factor in with the early error there what kind of effect it has that these guys just simply have not been playing together that long, as Walsh grounds another one foul. So after falling behind early in the count, Hunter Walsh doing everything he can to stay alive here against Caleb Fernholz. So Walsh steps out of the box, calling time here, and he'll step back in. Fernholz looking to the catcher, McDonald, taking the sign, and McDonald calling all of his own pitches as Fernholz steps off and checks the runners at first and third. Ryan Sargent at third, Brad Baldwin at first. A single, a walk, and another single have been the plays so far this game, with the Scouts yet to get an out. So Fernholz delivers, and that one's taken high. Moves the count to 1 ball, 2 strikes. Only one returning Xenia Scout on this team today from last year's squad that finished as the runner-up in the Southern Division of the Great Lakes League, and that's just Will Cruz. We'll see him tomorrow. And Walsh grounds that one to third base. Chandler Atkins makes the grab but slips, and looks like they're going to call that one a foul ball in the end, as Atkins slipped into foul territory. Atkins, a guy who on the Lipscomb University website listed as a catcher, but from all the talks I've heard, it seems that he's going to be playing more of a role on the field, and with the catching being split between Evan McDonald and Donald Ring. 1 ball, 2 strike, the count. Runners at first and third, and Fernholz delivers low and outside, evens up the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Hunter Walsh doing everything he can to stay alive in this at-bat after falling behind 0-2. So Walsh steps back in. Fernholz looks at the catcher McDonald, and he tries a pickoff move there over on Brad Baldwin. And Baldwin, a guy, we didn't get much time to talk about him, but he hails from Wayne State University. That's a Division II school in Michigan. And he had quite a year, and starting his Southern Ohio Copperhead career off with a bang, with an RBI single. And that ball is grounded sharply to the second baseman. It goes for 1, for 2 is in time. A 4-6-3 double play, and the second baseman, Aaron Valens, taking no time and not bothered seeming to be by the very slippery turf. It's been raining for quite a few hours here, but that did bring in Ryan Sargent. So the 4-6-3 double play scores Ryan Sargent. So now we got nobody on and 2 outs. The Copperheads leaving 2-0. First ball taken as a strike. The batter, Nick Rose from Wayne State University. And he takes low and inside, evens up the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Rose, this year at Wayne State, a 190 hitter, 4 RBIs and 6 extra base hits. Here's the 1-1 from Fernholz, and that one's fouled off his ankles. So Fernholz quickly getting ahead, 1 ball, 2 strikes as he tries to get out of this inning that did look a little bit more disastrous than it may end up being. Fernholz, the 1-2. And that one's taken way outside and low, evens up the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes. The 2-2 deliver. And swing and a miss, and that is strike 3. So Nick Rose goes down swinging. So 2 runs on 2 hits and nobody left aboard, and in the middle of 1. The score, Copperheads 2, Xenia Scouts nothing. We'll be right back. You are listening to the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. So we are back here for the bottom of the first with the Copperheads leading 2-0 early. But the pitcher for the Southern Ohio Copperheads is Wade Martin. Wade Martin from Marshall University. On the year, a 2.60 ERA at Marshall, 1-0 record. He appeared in 12 games, 17 innings pitched, and 18 strikeouts. But leading things off for the Xenia Scouts is Sean Kennedy. And Kennedy takes a first pitch strike from Wade Martin. Kennedy on the year had quite a successful year at Garden City Community College in Kansas. Sean hit .424 with 44 RBIs as he swings and misses at a high 0-1 there. And a very impressive slugging percentage mark from Kennedy this year. He slugged .712, partially due to 8 RBIs, but at the 0-2, taken high and outside from Wade Martin. So 1 ball, 2 strikes the count here in the bottom of the first with the Scouts trailing the Copperheads 2-0 early. And Kennedy grounds that one, a slow roller to the third baseman. It's going to be a foot race. And the first baseman, Hunter Walsh, cannot hold on to the throw from the third baseman, Brad Baldwin. And Kyler, like you were saying earlier, the wet field having sort of a effect on that, as that slow roller might not have been as slow of a roller here on a sunny day.
Well, when you're playing on this field turf, it usually is slower than playing on grass in general because of the beads in the turf. But, man, when that ball is wet as well, and the play you have to make has to be perfect, and the throw low to first base allowed Sean to reach safely.
So Sean Kennedy on first, and nobody out, and the batter is John Sharp. John Sharp just finishing up his freshman year at Lipscomb University, and he takes a first pitch strike from Wade Martin. Fastball kind of painting the outside corner there. 0-1 the count. So Kennedy taking a big lead. And Martin missing low and away evens up the count. 1 ball, 1 strike. Sharp, one of 2 Lipscomb guys this year on the team. And you Scouts fans might remember another shortstop from Lipscomb, Lee Solomon. Well, he had quite the year at Lipscomb as well. But he is moving on to a different league as Sharp hits a high pop fly, and coming in is the shortstop, Tyler Payne, who makes the grab. So 1 down. And that's going to bring up Jeremy Barth. Jeremy Barth, one of the last to arrive here for the Xenia Scouts, but he is here for the season opener. And let me tell you, this guy is a big, big man. Jeremy Barth from Biola University. And just to give you a feel of this 21-year-old man with a 26-year-old look, he stands at 6'4", 220 pounds. Jeremy hit .319 with 35 RBIs this year for the Biola Eagles. That's an NAIA school. The first pitch to Barth, and that one's fouled hard back off the mask of the catcher, Nick Rose. So no balls, 1 strike. Sean Kennedy on first with 1 out here, and the Xenia Scouts trailing by a score of 2-0 here in the bottom of the first against their division rivals, the Southern Ohio Copperheads. And Wade Martin, I was talking to Corey Coops, and just when we looked at the Copperhead roster last night, he told me, I bet you Wade Martin's going to be the opening day starter for them. And Jeremy Barth lifts that one into left field, but under it, the left fielder Devin Rose for out number 2. So 2 away here, and Evan McDonald to the plate. Evan McDonald just finished up his freshman year at Fairleigh Dickinson University. That's just down the road from my hometown. Fairleigh Dickinson, a school that plays in the Northeast Conference in Division I, located at Teaneck, New Jersey, and that's right next to the George Washington Bridge that brings you from New Jersey to New York City. First pitch to McDonald. Fouled way out of play on the first base side. 0-1 the count. So an inning that started off with, what would you say, Kyler? Would you say that it's going to be ruled as an error or a hit for Sean Kennedy? So yeah, that looks like it's going to be as an error, because that was a ball that really could have been caught by the first baseman, Hunter Walsh, and McDonald swings and misses at the 0-1. So McDonald quickly falling behind, 0-2. A pair of D1 guys facing up against each other. Wade Martin from Marshall and the catcher, for your Xenia Scouts, Evan McDonald. Martin sets, delivers, and that one's taken just outside fastball. Brings the count to 1 ball, 2 strikes. McDonald getting some serious playing time as a freshman, as he checks his swing on a fastball that missed low and away. Evens up the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes, but Sean Kennedy on first. And 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. The Scouts trail the Copperheads 2-0. The 2-2, and Sean Kennedy's going. The throw to second base will be not in time. So the first stolen base of the year for the Xenia Scouts goes to Sean Kennedy. And now Evan McDonald, who took a ball there, has a full count and the first big RBI opportunity for the Scouts this season. As the catcher, Nick Rose, is going to go have a word with Wade Martin. And you look at Evan McDonald, and he's using a neon green bat. Something very interesting. Working in a wood bat league last year, I did not see anything of that sort. But the count full, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Sean Kennedy takes his lead from third. Wade Martin looks back, looks to the catcher again. He sets, delivers, and that one is ripped into the shortstop's glove. Tyler Payne making a spectacular play for the Copperheads. So that is out number 3. So no runs on no hits and 1 man left aboard. And after 1 inning, the Copperheads lead your Xenia Scouts by a score of 1-0. We will be right back. You are listening to the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. So top of the second here from Grady's Field in Xenia, Ohio, the Copperheads up to an early 2-0 lead. And the batter's going to be Connor McMahon, the designated hitter. Another guy from Ohio University. And it looks like they might be making a substitution there. Can't really tell. But Connor McMahon from Ohio University did not play for the Bobcats this year. One of a couple of Bobcats on this Copperheads team. The first pitch to McMahon. And that one's taken in there for a called strike. So 0-1 the count. Fernholtz in the first inning. A pair of singles and a walk. Letting up 2 runs, but though he got into trouble early as he puts in another fastball. It actually looked like a curveball there. Getting ahead in the count against McMahon, 0-2, but He had a little trouble early, but a double play and a swinging strikeout kind of got him out of that inning with a bang. And here's the 0-2 delivery from Fernholz. And that one bouncing in the dirt brings the count to 1-2 strikes. Fernholz working with McDonald for, it might be the second time. A lot of these guys playing together for the first time. I know this is the first time Jeremy Barth's out there in a Scouts uniform, and a couple of these guys really didn't even get the opportunity to play in that scrimmage against the Cincinnati Spikes. But McMahon fouls that one right back into the screen, so the count stays 1-2 strikes with nobody out here in the top of the second inning. Copperheads leading by a score of 1-0. So Fernholz looks to the catcher McDonald. The 1-2. And that one's fouled way out of play down the first base line. So staying alive in the count is Connor McMahon, the designated hitter today. And the first time that a lot of these guys will face off each other. You got some interdivisions collegiately, and McMahon yet again staying alive as he's fouling yet another ball off. So the count stays 1-2 strikes. Fernholz, a guy who age-wise could be a junior after a very successful freshman year with St. Thomas, where his team went to the Division II World Series. He had to take a redshirt year because of injury, but the 1-2 from Fernholz, and that one's lined right back to Fernholz, who makes a very heads-up grab for out number one. So call that an F1, and that's one down here, and that's going to bring up Devin Rose. Devin Rose, the left fielder, this afternoon for the Southern Ohio Copperheads. One down here in the top of the second inning. 2-0 Copperheads the score. Nobody on. And the first pitch to Rose. And that one sails in there for a called strike one. So Fernholz getting ahead in the count yet again, and that seems to be something that he's been doing in the last couple batters. The 0-1. And that one's grounded to the shortstop, John Sharp, who throws over to Caleb Loy at first, and that is high and brings Caleb Loy off the bag. So that one's going to be marked as probably an error. And yet again, a little bit of trouble playing these balls in the field. So a man on and one out. Tyler Payne from Lee University is the batter. Payne this year at Lee University. 343, 17 RBIs, appearing in 37 games. He started 20 of them. And Payne, he checks his swing there. So, nothing in one the count. And let me be the first broadcaster in the Great Lakes League to make the Tyler Perry's House of Pain joke as Tyler Payne takes high and outside. So Fernholz falling behind in the count, 2-0 strikes.
Is that still a show?
I don't think so, but Tyler Perry might be just one of the richest men in entertainment now. He's done just about everything. And that one's grounded to the shortstop. John Sharp throws over to second for one. The throw for two will be not in time. So a fielder's choice. And now 2 down. And it's going to bring up the center fielder, Devin Garcia.
Sharp looked good on that ball. He's struggled a little bit on those high choppers off the turf. We saw the opening play of 2016 that led to the leadoff single for Callery was kind of like that. And then the error here in the second was another high chopper that he stayed back on and had to rush the throw. But here, not much time to react, and made a nice play in the hole to start up the force out at second base and made it a very close play at first base when really shouldn't have had much of a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And John Sharp also made an error in the game against the Cincinnati Spikes. And for those of you who don't know, the Scouts dropping that game at Prasco Park, a beautiful stadium in Mason, Ohio. The Cincinnati Spikes, another Christian team, and despite the loss, it was just a real great atmosphere at that game. But here's the first pitch to Devin Garcia, and that's taken high. Devin Garcia, the fourth man in the lineup from Ohio University.
Yep.
For this Athens, Ohio-based Copperheads team. And Garcia, not much playing time for the OU Bobcats this year. He was just 1 for 11 at-bats. But a lot of the guys in this Great Lakes Collegiate League, very young, getting their first opportunity, but a steal attempt, and looks like Evan McDonald got him. America runs on Duncan, but no one running on Evan McDonald right there, and I've been waiting all winter to use that one again. But no runs on no hits and nobody left aboard, and in the middle of the second, the Copperheads lead your Xenia Scouts 2-0. We'll be right back. You are listening to the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. And welcome back here, the bottom of the second inning from Grady's Field in Xenia. 2-0 Copperheads, your score, and leading things off here in the bottom of the second, Chandler Atkins. Just finished up his redshirt freshman year at Lipscomb, and Atkins fouls that first pitch right back into the screen, falling behind in the count, 0-1. Atkins, a guy who hails from Knoxville, Tennessee. He attended Grace Christian Academy and a very touted prospect coming out of high school. Atkins takes the 0-1 from Wade Martin. Fastball right up the middle. Falling behind in the count, 0-2. And Atkins, let me tell you, you meet this guy and you know he is a country boy if you've ever seen one. A cowboy boot wearing all the way as he takes inside. Low and inside, moves the count to 1-2. Atkins and John Sharp play alongside each other at Lipscomb University, and both from Knoxville, Tennessee, and really bringing that southern presence to this squad as he goes down looking as that ball paints the lower outside, or lower inside corner, I should say. So that is out number 1, and that's the first strikeout of the day for Wade Martin. Getting Chandler Atkins looking, and that's going to bring up Colt Wolf. Colt Wolf, a guy who, from Calvin College, that's a D3 in Michigan, but he had quite the year for the Calvin College Knights. Batting .364, driving in 44 runs, scoring 34 himself, and clubbing 12 bombs. The 12 bombs and the 34 runs scored. Both single-season Calvin College records set this season, but he falls behind in the count, 0-2 here against Wade Martin. Here's the 0-2. And Colt Wolf takes that one up and away, moves the count to 1-2. With one out here in the bottom of the second, the Copperheads lead the Xenia Scouts 2-0. The Scouts still looking for their first hit of the day and first hit of the season. And Wolf swings and misses, so strikeouts number 1 and 2 for Wade Martin this season, coming back-to-back. Getting Chandler Atkins looking and Colt Wolf swinging. Well, that's going to bring up Caleb Bloy. Bloy from Covenant College, where he just finished up his sophomore season. And the first pitch to Bloy, way up and away. So Bloy ahead in the count, 1-0. Covenant College, that's the Covenant College Scots, and it's a D2 school located in Lookout Mountain, Georgia. Wade Martin looks to the catcher, Rose, and he delivers. And that one's low, so 2 balls and 0 strikes here.
This is the first time Martin's fallen behind an account like this.
So it'll be interesting to see how he reacts. Here's the 2-0. And Caleb Bloy waves at that one. Brings the count to 2-1.
Yeah, went with a 2-0 curveball, and Bloy swung right over top of it. Not too often you're going to get that pitch when you're up in the count like that.
Here's 2-1. And Bloy grounds that one to the shortstop, Tyler Payne. Payne picks it up, throws on over to the first baseman, Hunter Walsh, for out number 3. So no runs on no hits and nobody left aboard. And after 2, the Xenia Scouts trail the Southern Ohio Copperheads 2-0. We'll be right back. You are listening to the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. And welcome back to Grady's Field in Xenia for the top of the 3rd. And back at the plate, Devin Garcia, who we saw a little bit of and thought he had his first at-bat, but Tyler Payne getting caught on the base paths ended that one before it even began. And Payne takes a first pitch strike from Caleb Fernholz, who had a little bit of trouble in the first inning, but really seeming to settle in now, getting ahead in counts. Yet again here, 0-1 the count, and Fernholz delivers. And that one's fouled. So Fernholz getting ahead in the count yet again. Kyler seems like after a little bit of trouble in the beginning, he's finally kind of settling into the zone there, working with the catcher McDonald. And McDonald calling games for probably his first time as a college player. A lot of D1 schools do not let their catchers call games, but the 0-2 and breaking ball taken high moves the count to 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to find out whether Evan is used to doing that or not. At my high school, we did it. My college, we didn't. So.
And the 1-2 pitch fouled right back into the screen. So staying alive is Garcia. Garcia, we'll mention again, and you'll hear this name a lot. Ohio University when we play these Copperheads.
3 straight Bobcats actually in the order once they turn it to the top.
And Garcia takes there.
One major difference, Southern Ohio seems to be working counts a lot better, showing a little more patience. The Scouts a little more aggressive in their at-bats so far.
And the 2-2 taken yet again, and that works to exactly what you're saying there. The patience at the plate there from the Copperheads, and you got to wonder maybe what the difference is and how much practice time these teams have had. It's interesting, a team getting out there. The summer ball atmosphere is Garcia fouls that one away, but these teams only really have 5 days to work together. 5 days under, manager Bubba Cates and working with assistant coaches Taylor Hargrove and Corey Koobs. And it's kind of hard to develop a team philosophy at that point.
Looks like a broken bat for Garcia. Have to go and get a new piece of lumber there, but the pitch count now over 40 for Fernholz, and that's through the order once plus a batter. On the Copperheads side, just 27 pitches through 2 innings for Wade Martin.
And the Scouts not at full strength right now in terms of roster size, so if Fernholz can't go deep into this game, that might not bode well for the Scouts. Speaking long term, is that is taken way high. And trotting over to first base is Devin Garcia. So the second walk of the day issued by Caleb Fernholz, and that's going to bring us back to the top of the order for Connor Callery. Callery, his first time up, a single, and he came around to score the first run of the game for the Copperheads. And Callery holding off there, checking his swing on a high fastball from Fernholz. 1-0 the count here in the top of the third inning. 2-0 Copperheads is the score. Devin Garcia, the man on first, taking his lead, and that ball looks like a slider taken in for a called strike. Evens up the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Here with nobody out. Here's the 1-1. And that one's taken outside. Moves the count to 2 balls, 1 strike. And Fernholz, like you said, really working his pitch count early in this game as he steps off the mound. In what looked to maybe be a pickoff attempt as John Sharp quickly made a move towards second base.
Garcia had started and stopped over at first base. He thought he had a reading on Fernholz's delivery to the plate, and as Caleb held there for a moment, Garcia jumped off the bag, then went scurrying back in.
The 2-1. And that one's grounded to the second baseman. Valance tosses over to second for 1. The throw for 2 will be roll way past the first baseman, Caleb Loy, and advancing to second will be Connor Callery. So what looked like it could have been a double play ends up being a play that's going to put Connor Callery in scoring position, and that's his second time aboard. It'll be interesting to see, and it looks like they're going to rule that as an error.
Well, you have to give an error to move Callery up to second base.
Yeah, definitely the out.
It's a fielder's choice.
Second, but yeah, certainly. Yeah, they're not going to give him a hit there, as they shouldn't. So a man on second and 1 out here. The batter, Ryan Sargent, and as Kyler alluded to earlier, the third straight Ohio Bobcat that we're going to see in this order. First pitch to Sargent, and that's taken in there for a called strike. Ryan Sargent walked his first time up. Came around to score that second run for the Copperheads and represents that 2-0 lead. The man on second and the man at the plate here. So Fernholz looks back to second. Breaking ball way high. Evens the count up, 1 ball, 1 strike. And I'll have to look at this in a second, but the Great Lakes League adopting the new Pitch Smart rules from Baseball USA, and that's definitely going to limit how much work they can put on their individual pitchers as fastball misses up and away to Ryan Sargent. So
explain what the Pitch Smart rules are.
Essentially, the Pitch Smart rules are how many pitches a player can throw based on the amount of rest that he's had. And that one's ripped foul down the third base line, even in the count up 2-2. So essentially what happens is if you have 1 day's rest, you can't throw more than 30 pitches. If you have 2 days rest, you can't throw more than 45 pitches. And I don't want to misinform the people because there's more exact numbers put to it, but there's definitely a limit. This being summer ball, as breaking ball just seems to get away from Fernholz and drills Ryan Sargent in the back. So he'll walk on over to first, and now the Copperheads have first and second with 1 out here in the top of the third.
Especially in a day and age, especially right now, you'll see pitchers almost getting hero status because they'll throw so many pitches in conference tournaments or the first round of a regional, and you see guys trotted back out after throwing 120 pitches on a Thursday to go back out on Saturday and throw another 70 and basically ruin their arms for a conference tournament. And that's a great call by the Great Lakes League to just make sure that these guys' arms, as much as you want to win in summer ball and show off and get scouts to look at you, ultimately you can't play if you're overpitched.
Well, oh yeah, and that's absolutely correct. As Brad Baldwin takes breaking ball on the outside. Want to know the count, but I alluded to Caleb Fernholz with an earlier injury, and that injury, he actually had Tommy John. Had to sit out his entire sophomore season, so this being his red shirt sophomore season the past year. So I think Bubba Cates and the rest of the Scouts coaches are going to be very conscientious about how much they're going to use Fernholz. They don't want to overwork him because he really still is just coming off that first season after the surgery. But Baldwin taking upstairs fastball there, so 2-0 the count. Runners on first and second, 1 out, 2-0. Copperheads here in the top of the third. And that one is ripped into center field by Baldwin. Rounding third and coming home is Connor Callery. And there will be no throw to the plate, so that is the third run, and I believe it to be the third RBI for Brad Baldwin. Was that a second RBI for Brad Baldwin? Check that, but he's 2 for 2 to start off his Great Lakes League season. And like I said, Brad Baldwin, the guy from Wayne State, just early in this game here, and showing you kind of the stuff that he was showing the people, the fans of his Wayne State University team. In a year where he hit .370 with 38 RBIs, he was a all-conference player for Wayne State this year. But it looks like Bubba Cates coming out to the mound, and looks like the Scouts are going to get Jorge Lozano going in the bullpen as Bubba's having a word with his pitcher, Fernholz. And just like we were saying, maybe if it wasn't this early in the season, he wouldn't be so quick to pull. But no need to overwork your guys when you're short-staffed like this. So Cates having a word. So the game so far, couple of hits in the first inning. A hit and a walk and a hit. A single, a walk, and a single. Got the first 2 runs on the board for the Southern Ohio Copperheads. And then an RBI single there from Ryan Sargent, his second RBI of the day, and that represents the 3-0 lead that the Copperheads hold here. So Hunter Walsh to the plate. Walsh, his last time up, grabbing an RBI, but he grounded into a 4-6-3 double play. Runners at first and second. 1 out here in the top of the third. And first pitch from Fernholz taken upstairs. 1-0 the count.
What's really interesting to see now how that at-bat by Devin Garcia has affected Fernholz, because he got ahead but couldn't put him away, and after that, Caleb's really struggled to get ahead of the hitters after that.
So a ball taken there, and Evan McDonald's throw over to first to try to get Brad Baldwin just off the mark and really not in time. So 2-0 the count here. Runners at first and second. Scouts trying to contain the damage here. And like you were saying earlier, the Copperheads doing a phenomenal job of just working the counts here against Caleb Fernholz. And do you have his pitch count right now, or sort of an idea of what it is?
I'll have to do some math, which has always been difficult for me.
As for me, well, you can count that up as we wait for the 2-1 here from Fernholz. He delivers. And that one taken in the zone evens up the count 2-2.
Somewhere around 58 pitches is what we unofficially have.
So 58 pitches in the top of the third, and it doesn't really matter if it's high school, college, the minors, or the majors. That does not bode well for a starting pitcher going deep into a game. And give credit where credit is due to the Southern Ohio Copperheads. And a double steal there from the Copperheads, and the throw from Evan McDonald over the third base not in time. So now you got 2 runners in scoring position and a full count. The Copperheads threatening here in the top of the third. Just 3 hits on the day for them, but 3 runs to show for it, and a pair of errors on the part of the Scouts not helping their starting pitcher. But that one is in there for a called strike 3. So that's the second strikeout of the day there as he gets Hunter Walsh looking. And that is out number 2. So Nick Rose to the plate, another guy from Wayne State, as his Wayne State teammate. Brad Baldwin stands at second, and the Ohio Bobcat Ryan Sargent at third. Caleb Fernholz trying to get out of this third inning. First pitch, and that one's fouled right at the plate into the glove of McDonald on the bounce.
One of the toughest things to adjust to going from the regular college game to the summer college game is the bats, both as the hitter and as the pitcher, because you can catch a little bit more of the plate with your pitches and not get hurt by it, whereas with a metal bat, it could be a home run. Here, it's just a fly out, and that could be something that Fernholz focuses on for the future because he's really trying to be very fine around the corners here, and now is ahead 0-2. Hopefully he can finish him off.
The 0-2. And that one missing just off the plate. But like you said, the wood bat can be a big adjustment. Last summer, we saw a guy in the Alaska League who had just won Big 12 Freshman of the Year, a highly touted guy out of TCU. Came into the Alaska League, kid had never used a wood bat before, and he could not hit with the wood bat. He couldn't even start in his own summer league team. Probably the highest touted prospect coming into the season. But that's just an adjustment that a lot of guys have to make, and especially these young freshman guys who haven't played summer ball before. But the count evens two balls, 2 strikes, and that one's grounded foul down the first base line. So staying alive at 2-2 is Nick Rose, the Wayne State guy.
One of the stories I always found funny back when Tim Belcher, a former Mount Vernon Nazarene Cougar, NAIA school, was the pitching coach for the Cleveland Indians, he would have all the pitchers go out during the first day of batting practice at spring training and have them watch BP for the first round of all these major league hitters, fantastic players, and watch them hitting 75-mile-an-hour pitches right down the middle and not getting hits off of them, kind of showing them you can catch part of the plate and not get burned.
The 2-2 from Fernholz, breaking ball misses on the outside, and the count goes full.
And you will see kind of that philosophy with guys. Greg Maddux was a great example of it, that he would go a complete game and not even throw 90 pitches, and that's why they call that a Maddux now.
And that one's grounded to the second baseman. Valens tosses over to Caleb Loy at first for out number 3. So 1 run on no hits and 2 men left aboard, and after in the middle of the third, I should say, the Southern Ohio Copperheads lead your Xenia Scouts by a score of 3-0. We will be right back here. You are listening to the Xenia Scouts Radio Network. And as we head into the bottom of the third, the score 3-0 Copperheads, and leading off the inning for your Xenia Scouts is Ryan O'Hearn. Ryan O'Hearn, the center fielder from Hillsdale College. As he takes a strike in there, first pitch strike to Ryan O'Hearn, falling behind in the count 0-1. Hillsdale College, a school that feeds AIA. Certainly feeds the AIA. And here's the 0-1 to O'Hearn. He takes that one too. Kind of showed bump there, but pulled back. And Wade Martin's pitch just catching the inside corner of the plate. So falling behind in the count 0-2 is Ryan O'Hearn. And I just got a wave from an 1860s player from yesterday's Eastwood Iron Horses. His name in the game was Hobo. So Hobo is here, and we're glad to have Hobo back.
Now, what a fun game that was. A good way to really kick off the year for the Scouts. Kind of relieves a little bit of the pressure of the big summer that they all have planned.
A lot of fun there as O'Hearn hits that one to the shortstop, Tyler Payne, who throws on over to first, and that is just in time. The first baseman, Hunter Walsh, having to extend there to try to grab that one on the bounce, but he does just that. So mark that one as a 6-3 ground out for Ryan O'Hearn, and that's going to bring up Aaron Valance. Aaron Valance from Wayland Baptist University, a guy who had a big year for the Wayland Baptist Pioneers. Aaron hit .372 with 11 doubles and 14 RBIs for the Pioneers as he takes a fastball in there called strike one. Wayland Baptist having its most successful season ever in school history, finishing ranked 23rd in the country among NAIA schools as Wade Miley just painting the strike zone there.